The negative aspect of NAFTA. I'm a drywall guy. First thing that happened, and the easiest thing to learn for illegals, is to learn how to hang drywall. That's just really easy. Now finishing drywall takes a little longer, but eventually they learned how to do that, and I'm now a home improvement handyman. I can't make a living doing drywall now. Believe me, 45 years. That took care of my family, and I am, even if I'm saying so myself, as good as they come when it comes to finishing drywall. I should be able to work until I choose not to. I am healthy enough, a few extra pounds. It's harder to walk on stilts, but I still can to get up to ceilings. I can still do that, and I can still make, on average, even at what the illegals make, I can make $1,500 a week at that rate. Folks, I know what NAFTA did to this country. So I am a little bit uncomfortable with sharing a common cause with these folks, the progressives, who have another reasonality as to why they're opposing this NAFTA on steroids called the Pacific Trade Agreement, because that's what I say it is. And I say it will have a huge negative effect on jobs in this country. What are we left with? We're already letting China build everything. Walk into Walmart's and just look at the tags. We don't make anything anymore. Donald Trump's right about that. So the association I have with those folks that you just heard, they're liberal left progressives. And I have an association with them on opposing this trade agreement. And one of my champions, one of my Tea Party darlings, voted for fast track on it. What's up with that, folks? I don't know. But I know what happened. That should have been 2/3 majority in the Senate to give advice and consent on it. It is not going to take that now. And one thing I wanted to talk about, what we didn't talk about, with this Iran nuclear deal that the Corker Amendment did, it turned it exactly around. Now, 51 votes in the House can disapprove it, right? This is the hook that got them to pass the Corker Amendment. Well, we get to review it, and if we don't like it, we can vote it down with 51 votes in the House and 51 votes in the Senate, and we can get that. The Corker Amendment did the same thing as Ted Cruz did with fast track authority. It took the Senate's obligation, constitutional obligation of advice and consent with 2/3 majority away. Now the Senate, it's reversed it. The House can oppose it with 51 votes, or with 51% of their votes, and now the Senate can oppose it with 51 votes. Good, Corker says, that good. We've got control of the Senate. We'll vote that down. But the format, with that magic wand that they put that in, means that the president can veto it. Now what's it take? 2/3 majority to override his veto. They'll never get it. See, it turned it exactly on its head. If you want to take right in front of me and take the Constitution and dump it right on the head, what you're doing is saying all of those who fell in favor of this flag and the Constitution that it represents and the Republic who we need to restore, what you're saying to me is I shouldn't care about that. And I'm telling everyone who cares to hear it, I care. Because if the Republic's dead, my children, my grandchildren, and your grandchildren have a consequence beyond belief. And we still stand a chance, folks. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think the only chance now is Carly Fiorina, because she, I think, is the only one that can rejuvenate the oxygen in the room for grassroots conservative Republicans. Because if we keep voting for all of them, Jeb Bush comes forward, Donald Trump goes third party, which...
So you don't think anybody else is going to bring that up?
Nobody's talking about it. I'm trying like everything to get her to talk about it.
But now, if Ted Cruz is hoping to make some headway, wouldn't he want to try to redeem himself?
But nobody's holding him accountable for it. Everybody's giving him a pass on saying, I voted against the trade agreement. But see, that doesn't do it. I'm not talking about the trade agreement. I'm talking about the fast-track authority that he authorized in committee and let it come down. Because if he didn't support it, it wouldn't have come out of committee. It wouldn't have changed the advice and consent clause of the Constitution. Listen, it didn't change the clause. It just went over it and around it. And a constitutionalist shouldn't do that. Constitutionalists shouldn't take the Constitution and stand it right up on its head. Not while I'm watching. And nobody's talking about it, folks. And people aren't getting out, coming here to hear this message. And this message isn't getting out. I hope it does with YouTube. I implore people, wherever you are, to hold Ted Cruz accountable with explanation as to why this agreement that they say is not a treaty, yes it is, Black's Law Dictionary says it is, and the Senate could have taken their founding fathers' authority and not given advice and consent. But there's only 51 Republicans, I think, maybe 52 or 53. But they don't have a supermajority. They couldn't have given advice and consent. They would not have given consent on those things that you heard these fellows talk about. These progressives that disagree with it. And we have disagreement with it for our own reasons. Constitutionality is my problem. I don't know if I agree with it. I know some things I'm hearing about I don't like. Rand Paul and Carly Fiorina both says, I don't know what's in it. I'm not going to vote for something I don't know what's in. Ted Cruz did. When he voted to let it come down with fast-track authority, then he voted for the fast-track authority. See, it was in committee first, right? I couldn't have come out of committee down to the Senate to vote to give the president fast-track authority unless the Senate rules gave 51 votes to the fast-track authority given to the president, and Ted Cruz voted twice for fast-track authority. But then, when it came to the Senate, he voted against it. But guess what? It only took 51 votes, so therefore it passed. Even with Ted Cruz now being able to say, I read it, I found out it was bad, I voted against it, but Ted Cruz is the reason it only took 51 votes. So,
I heard someone try to explain that the TPA has been around for years, and Ted Cruz did what he said he was going to do, and he voted against it. I mean, with the TPP.
He did.
I mean, I'm finding that the people that still support Cruz are trying to explain away what he did.
And they won't talk about what he did. They will only say, and to protect Ted Cruz, they will say he voted against this bad agreement. He voted against it. But I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the trade agreement. I'm talking about the fast-track authority that is abhorrent to the Constitution. That's what I'm talking about. I don't talk about the trade agreement right now. I want to talk about the authority he gave an opposition president in hopes that the Republican president, who they all think we're going to get, oh man, the consequence of the Trump third-party thing, if that works again like Ross Perot does, and we got Hillary, she got fast-track authority.
That's another Obama nightmare.
We got Bill in the White House again. Interns, beware!
Because
They were going to tweak it, they never tweaked it.
Okay, little humor there, but it's really not so funny. Nick?
Columnist today in the paper said, little headline, I didn't read it, GOP better watch out for Biden.
Well, I think I'll donate for Joe Biden. I will donate money for his campaign to defeat Hillary. That is absolute polar opposite where the Democrat Party wants to go. They want Hillary Clinton. What they don't know yet, and the reason they're considering Joe Biden, they don't know what Reince Priebus and the Republicans have against Hillary with these emails and Benghazi. Remember me talking a few months back about Benghazi? 3 things that are important: Benghazi, Benghazi, and then Benghazi. Those are the 3 important things that we need to be dealing with. Well, it showed itself to be so in Hillary Clinton's emails. She has had a federal judge appointed by her husband order her to produce the server and show the emails. Why would he do that? Progressive Democrat appointed by her husband. They want to get out in front of it and see what the Republicans have. Republicans don't want to show it. They got the goods on Hillary. Donald Trump is their trump card on that. Because even with having that information, they'll willingly suspend their disbelief and they'll vote for the first woman for president. That's why I love Carly. Not only is she a constitutional conservative, but she just happens to be a woman. And she will reconfigure this, the states across the country. Michigan may become a red state again in the presidential election. Ohio, probably for sure. Carly Fiorina will reconfigure all the dynamics of an election. The women's vote will not automatically. And you got to understand this. It's not like the black vote, Dick, I'll get to you. It's not like the black vote, because you got black women. It's not like the Hispanic vote, you got Hispanic women. Blacks are about 12% population in this country. That's with young people and people who just aren't motivated to vote, 12%. So maybe 5% of that 12% actually goes and votes, but half of those are women. You think about this dynamic, what Carly Fiorina can bring to this dynamic of this, the way the state's laid. The Hispanics, half of their folks that vote are women. The moderate Reagan Republicans, I didn't mean Republicans, the Reagan Democrats who are moderates, half of those are women. Carly Fiorina will bring the women's vote to the Republican Party to the point that the demographics of each state changes. The drywall guy figures that out. I think they know that already. And she goes from junior varsity to varsity real quick. She just proved herself.
Are they just voting for her because she's a woman?
Who's voting?
Wouldn't that be sexist?
Well, yeah, well, some do. Some will. But what I'm saying is Hillary isn't guaranteed the women's vote now. Carly Fiorina has got the conservative credentials. She's got them. But so do a lot of other folks. She brings a dimension to this. She can do the thing that nobody else can do on those podiums. She can neutralize the Trump card that Bill Clinton is using with Donald Trump. Carly Fiorina is the only one, the way I see it, that can neutralize that. And that's a pretty good plan that Bill Clinton concocted because it got him elected with Ross Perot, and it's going to get his wife elected with Donald Trump. If it is that we don't see it headed off, and we don't understand. So everybody thinks that we can rally behind Ted Cruz, and we could. But Ted's done something he's got to explain, and nobody's holding him accountable for it. I'm not going to rally behind somebody who dumped the Constitution on its head. I'm not going to do that. I'll go home, and I'll sit, and I'll watch first. I am a Christian, constitutional, conservative Republican. In that order. I'm not going to give Ted Cruz a pass simply because he's a Republican. But Bill Clinton's plan is working. Anybody says he's not smart, he is smart. That phone call that Donald Trump got 2 weeks before he announced is, and Carly Fiorina brought it up. Again, no, Dick had a question. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in a second, I want to ask your opinion of Ben Carson. But I was going to say that I think that headline that said GOP better watch out for Biden, I think it meant that Biden would be a tougher opponent than Hillary.
I know what it meant. I know what they meant by saying that. But I disagree. Well,